Let's look at the topic Social Impact Management for Social Impact Incubators, based on the research conducted within the Incubators for Change project, and experts' opinions and experiences. Lack of social impact measurement is one of the most common gaps in the social entrepreneurship ecosystem, even in developed ones. Incubators and support organizations are critical to fill this gap. They contribute to the field by creating good examples of social impact measurement and developing the capacity of their incubators to manage their impact. There are lots of different approaches and tools in the field, like result-oriented monitoring, social cost-benefit analysis, social return on investment, and there are also innovative approaches like indicatorless. Social impact measurement is not just about proving, but learning. Not just for reporting, but for driving change. And it is not a product, but a process. When we look into social impact measurement practices of incubators, according to our survey, we see that 75% of incubators surveyed declare that they measure their social impact. But they tend to use only performance criteria. For example, number of supported companies still in activity. 60% use this metric. Number of jobs created. 55% use this metric. Funds raised by entrepreneurs. 40%. The possible investment in incubated. 35% use this. So this measurement is incomplete. Only 33% of incubators effectively measure their social impact. 58% of incubators train their participants for social impact measurement. The smaller an incubator is, or the less projects supported, the fewer number of projects supported, the less they tend to measure their social impact. And inversely, the bigger the incubator, the more likely it is to measure. Let's continue with the opinions and experiences of experts from social impact management field, with a specific focus on the questions. First, what are some of the most common challenges incubation programs face in measuring their impact? How have you, in your experience, overcome these challenges? And second question, what would you recommend to a potential founder of a social incubator to foster a culture of impact measurement with their incubators from the get-go?
Kuluçka çalışanları sosyal etki ölçümü ve yönetimi konusunda yeterli bilgi ve beceriye sahip olmadıkları için bu alanda birazcık daha isteksiz kalabiliyorlar. Ayrıca kullanıcı dostu, kolay uygulanabilir çözümler istiyorlar. Bu nedenle ben kendilerini o Europe Impact projesi kapsamında yaptığımız etkinizi zirveye taşıyın rehberine yönlendiriyorum. Kendilerini uyarlayabilirler. Sosyal etki ölçümleme yerine sosyal etki yönetimi kullanın. Çünkü sosyal girişimler operasyonlarını, finanslarını, müşterilerini, gönüllerini yönettikleri gibi sosyal etkilerini de yönetmeleri gerektiğini görsünler bu kavramla birlikte. İkincisi, sosyal etki verisi toplamanın ve sosyal etkilerini yönetmelerinin iş modellerine nasıl bir katkı sağladığını sosyal girişimlere gösterin. Üçüncüsü, bu alanda da mentor havuzu oluşturun. Dördüncüsü, KUSİF 10 etki sorusunu ve cevaplamak için kullanılan yöntemleri de programınıza entegre edin. Ayrıca kuluçka çalışanlarını sosyal girişimcileri bu sosyal etki yönetimi konusunda nasıl destekleyeceklerine dair eğitim ve bilgi becerilerini artırın. Kaynak olarak şunu önereceğim. Sosyal girişimlerle çalışırken KUSİF'in etkinizi zirveye taşıyın rehberini ve etki odaklı düşünme çerçevesini çok rahatlıkla kullanabilirsiniz.
Well, social impact measurement, as the name says, means that you're making an attempt to grasp the effects of your work. And I think for incubators, it's very important because it provides a legitimacy to what they are doing. And it also provides them the tool to steer their actions, because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, as the saying goes. And I think it's particularly true for incubators because, sometimes it can be hard to measure the impact. So many sort of jump to the conclusion that they don't measure impact at all, they just go with descriptives because, well, we can't do it anyway. And I think that's wrong. I think it's tough, but it's really worth doing. Why is it tough? Because basically what you have to think about is that you have two layers of impact. You have whatever you are doing as incubator with your ventures. Maybe you even have this third layer of the ventures collaborating with each other. And then there is a whole different world where the ventures hopefully impact the world out there. And the latter tends to be what we all seek, but it also tends to be something that is very diverse, happens with a lot of time lag, and is sometimes difficult to grasp. But I think only when you have some understanding of this kind of impact, long-term impact actually of the ventures, as well as your impact on the ventures, then you can really understand what you're doing well and what you don't. So then you can change and improve and actually live up to the promise that you make.
The most common challenges faced by incubators who want to measure their impact are the need to consider two levels of impact: their impact on enterprises and the impact of these enterprises on their stakeholders, while keeping both these levels connected. The identification of outcome indicators and impact indicators to monitor their impact is another challenge. Another challenge is the data collection process that will enable incubators to collect these indicators. Lastly, incubators will need to analyze the results and adapt their delivery and their activities, their support of enterprises, and that's the most direct action that they can take once they have measured their social impact. In order to overcome these challenges, at ESSEC, we work with incubators such as Entropia ESSEC, Make Sense. Veolia also have an incubator program called Pop-Up. And what we do is to create framework and data collection tools, such as questionnaires, that are transferable to other incubators of social enterprises. My recommendation for incubators of social enterprises are to sign up for a training session or to get a consultant to support them in this new process, which is quite technical at the beginning. Another recommendation is to train the enterprises that you work with and that you support, or to get someone to train them as part of your support offer to them, to help them frame their theory of change and to identify the most relevant indicators of impact for these enterprises. Another recommendation is to dedicate time from the leadership team in your incubator to work together on the incubator's theory of change. At last, don't wait to start a social impact assessment process on a restricted part of your activity. You could start with the social impact assessment of one program, for instance, and that will help you test the various dimensions of social impact assessment for existing data collection processes that you already have in your incubator.
Almost all the incubators have difficulties in managing their social impact due to lack of time, data, knowledge, and necessary tools. Managing social impact for incubators is extra difficult as it requires to think with a multi-layer approach. But it's worth doing it since it provides legitimacy to incubators.